All right, good morning everybody. Welcome back to the channel. We have a few new goodies to review in the factory. It's not really a factory though, unfortunately, but I have a very special product here today. I've waited very long for this. It is the Little Shop Props Cream Aztec filming prop replica. It's time, it's finally here, and it's in my hands. And it's a beautiful presentation box here. I love these tin cans. I've already reviewed the 10th Doctor's sonic screwdriver from Rubber Toe Replicas, and the tin's nice, but I do like these tins more. They're quite nice, and they're more compact than I thought. This is my first LSP product, so in comparison to what I thought the size of this was, it was not this. But I quite prefer that it is this much more compact. But this is the box, nothing too crazy, but it's very simple and I quite like it. You've got the replica name on the top, the company name, the makers, and fairly simple stuff. Upon opening the can, we have this beautiful infographic with some art design regarding the Sonic that this pertains to. We have the Cream Aztec 2005, used by Eccleston in Series 1. And it's beautiful artwork on the top. You can see the Sonic on the back of that as well, with a few nice nods that show the team behind the release. James Sutton, Kasim Bhatti, Daniel Howard, Josh Martin, Josh Howe, and Jem Ward by Little Shop Props 2024. This has been in the making for a bit, but honestly, the wait was worth it. This is a beautiful replica that I'll show you here. Upon opening it, you do see some word gibberish. Unfortunately, it doesn't really matter to me because I can't read. I'm kidding. It shows the left-hand side is the history of the prop, a little bit of the Aztec that you can read at your own time, and then the replicas talks about what this is here. Which you can read at your own time. So we put this aside, quite a beautiful piece of work. Here inside we also have this white copy paper that's printed with some usual guff. Thank you for purchasing, yada yada, the installing and changing of the batteries, the using and care of the prop, and the strength and durability. It is a prop, not a toy. All right, so remember that, plug them and file them. Then you've got on the inside this beautiful, nice, fitted foam laser cut, yada yada, with the Cream Aztec filming prop replica written on top of it, or lasered in, per se. You can lift this up, put that aside, and right below that you get introduced to the Sonic itself. The Sonic is absolutely beautiful in that little display cutout, and we can pull this aside for now. Let me make sure it's focusing the right way as well. We'll put the Sonic aside for now, we'll get right to that. Inside the box we have this little opening here which you can lift up and remove, and you get more foam. Lots of great foam here. But under that you get the stand and a few bits of accessories. So the stand is cold casted and it provides two forms of displaying the prop. You can have it displayed upright or sideways, with the accessory bits in the rest of the box. It says the Little Shop Props on it, quite nice. The edition number on the bottom, which is Cream Aztec edition number, I believe it's 80? I believe it's 80. I believe it's 80.
Your edition number for which?
Cream Aztec.
50.
50, edition number 50 by the ghost in my room. I appreciate that. I very much appreciate that. Yeah, edition number 50, and then we'll leave this, and actually we'll take the stand aside from that. And then we have the accessory bit here is one of the extra end caps that have the speaker holes. And this is quite nice. I like that they do this because the accurate part is that this gets shown with the accurate end tip, which would be no speaker holes. I'm trying to get it to focus properly. I'm having a little difficulty there. There's no speaker holes there, which is accurate to the show. Now, if you like sound and you want to hear it with sound, they offer an additional end cap free of charge with the speaker holes. Quite nice. And then we've got the accessory bits here, which fit onto the little shop props display stand. So you kind of cram it in. Personally, I'm not a big fan of laying it that way anyways, but you can, and you can just have it displayed like so. But personally, I just like to have it upright instead, but we'll get to that in a moment. So let's get to the sonic part of this, which I'll put this foam here for contrast. So this, I'll see if I can zoom in here for you. All right, that might work here. Let me see here. This is the Replica. No, yada yada, perfect. Let me see how that looks so I can cut this out in the video. Looks good. Just stand at this point. Awesome. All right. This is the Sonic. Beautifully crafted. And the paintwork on this was done by Kazim. Got wrong. I'm gonna redo that whole part again now because it's Kazim. Kazim. This is the Sonic. It is beautifully made. It looks absolutely stellar. Look at that crackle work right there. Let me just get rid of that little guy right there. It's got a little bit of a scuff. There you go. It's off now. This was painted by Kasim Bati at Little Shop Props, and it was absolutely beautiful work. I love the base coat, I love the top coat, and I love the blue strip here as well. Very, very nice. Very nice. So the Sonic itself is fairly small, right? So if you're used to the Character Options toy, way bigger, not accurate, but this would be the size. My hand is quite large as well, but the Sonic does fit quite small in my hand. The Sonic is an Aztec version of the prop, so it doesn't have the slider as you're probably used to from Tenet. It just has one activation switch via a micro switch, which is towards the top with the little shell cap on top. So you pushing down on the button will reveal the lights and sound. So quite a nice LED, blue, bright, does the job. The cool thing that I had mentioned before is that this is the accurate end cap right at the bottom, made by Delrin, and it does not feature the speaker holes, meaning that while you use the sound with this end cap, you don't really hear it. You still can very lightly in an empty room hear it, but it is very muted. In cons, you will virtually never listen to it at all. So yeah, you can remove the end cap like so, just by plopping it off. It's recommended that you leave the little sticker that's on the speaker hole. It helps with the sound. You are able to remove it, but it creates this bit of a tin distortion, so it's best to leave the little sticker on. Applying the other end cap with the speaker holes, these are, I believe, 3D printed and then painted over, but this would not be Delrin. The accurate one is Delrin. So you can snap this on the bottom, and then you can just kind of like snap it into place here, and you would now have an end cap that will allow you to hear the sound better, like so. Pretty sick. It's got the two accurate screw holes here on the Sonic body. They have the black screw holes there. Very lovely machining work, very lovely design. We have the accurate dome on the Sonic itself, right? So it is rounded towards the top, but it does have a straight edge down towards the emitter head there, as you can see. And that looks absolutely beautiful. These are printed and then they are painted over, just giving it that beautiful, beautiful hue there. And it's quite lovely. It's quite pretty. So no complaints on that. We've got the emitter cage section here, and that looks absolutely dandy. And then here, these teeth marks is sick because while it may not have a slider, it is an Aztec, so you are able to pull the Sonic out, revealing the black and red wires that the Ninth Doctor Sonic is known for. Quite beautiful right there, and they look fantastic. I have no complaints over that. The lights still work at any position while you're still holding the Sonic. You can still close it down and it'll still work. There are, I believe, 2 O-rings on the inside of the Sonic that help it move as you extend it and give it that little bit of tension so it doesn't fly out. You can pull it carefully, of course, because this is a prop, not a toy. And then you can simply just revert this down backwards by pushing it back down, and you'll be able to feel the O-rings doing their thing. But beautiful machining work, beautiful internal design work by the electronic guys like Kasim. He did great. And I have no complaints over this prop. I've waited so long for this prop because I've always wanted a Cream Aztec as a kid. And when Celestial Toy Store had theirs, I wanted that one. Then Sonic Compendium did one. I believe Collingwood Replicas also did one. Never got any of those. So then when I was finally taking a look at Little Shop Props, saw it, and I decided that I would want one of these. And I am beyond happy with the result. The crackle work is fantastic, like genuinely. And it's fantastic. I just love the way that the Sonic looks, how it sounds, and I'm a sound guy, so I do like and appreciate that they give the speaker hole for free included in there. And then if you would like to swap it with a more accurate one, then you're free to do so at any moment, and it's quite nice. No complaints. This is the Sonic, and in extended position, it still does its thing. So it's quite nice. No complaints. If you guys are looking to buy one, I believe they are no longer in stock on the site, so keep your eyes peeled for eBay. I believe there are some floating around every now and then, but if you are looking for a chance to get something special like this, you should definitely hop onto it. And yeah, but don't leave the video just yet, because I do have a beautiful little special gift coming up soon. You'll be able to get some information regarding the prop by one of the makers at Little Shop Props, which would be Kazim Bhatti, the one who also did the electronic work and the paint for the Sonics. So we have that coming up, and I'll roll that in a bit right now. So this is the Sonic. This is the display stand, so you can display the Sonic like so, or you can display it like so as well, but I'm not really a fan of that. That's how the Sonic looks like displayed from the upright position via the stand. And if you're thinking about picking one up, like I said before, you should definitely do so. All right, roll the clip. Welcome back, everybody. This is the second part of the video that I wanted to introduce. I have my special guest star here, and he's going to introduce himself right after I finish yapping about this. It could be right now, actually.
Hello, I'm Kasim Bhatti, director of Little Shop Props.
And I am beyond relieved to know that you exist.
Relieved to know that I exist. Yeah. I thought you weren't real either, to be honest.
I didn't know I was real either, to be honest. I just come and go sometimes. I did disappear from the Doctor Who prop community for a few years, and I came back. Still alive. People don't really know who I was.
Started a company.
I did start a company after you, actually.
After me.
Yeah, I got inspired. Also by somebody I don't talk to.
Oh no.
Anyways, what was I gonna say?
Well, what are we here for?
Well, what we're here for is something special, right? I just finished reviewing the Cream Aztec prop from Little Shop Props, which is this beautiful project made by him and his team. And I just wanted to see if we can maybe get a little bit more of an inside scoop, something more personal, because I think there's a lot of obscure details that aren't really talked about, right? And these props, what makes them so special is that we get to unbox them because they're made by talented people like him. But as far as the accuracy, there's a lot that gets thrown around, I think, right, in the community.
Definitely.
We've got a few iterations of this prop in existence, some of which I think would be, the earliest being the CT, right?
That's right.
the CT Cream Aztec, and then after that was
The Sonic Compendium.
Sonic Compendium.
Well, I think there might have been the odd other makers about, like Collingwood maybe. He did
Collingwood,
grey
I think,
Aztecs, but then
did
he
have
might have done
files for that.
custom Cream Aztecs as well.
It's been around, but
Yeah.
what's beautiful to know is that, like, in essence, people have nailed it, I think, right? The look of the Cream Aztec, because something that's so identifiable would be the color. Like, I picked up my cup, I didn't drink any of it, but he made this for me, by the way. Good job.
It is.
Both the Sonic and the tea.
Yes, that's true.
But a beautiful thing about the Sonic is that it's cream, right? So I think it's gonna be a little hard because I'm a little out of focus here. But you could tell by the rest of the review video, that's what makes it identifiable, right? What can you tell me was, you had to paint this, right? You painted this yourself, I
I
think.
did, and we did actually have a lot of hiccups in that arena, because our first batch of bodies was unfortunately a dud batch of bodies, which we didn't find out about until pretty much right at the end of the process, when we were starting to fit electronics, and we looked at the way the body lined up with the collar, and we were like, why is the buttonhole slightly, maybe like 5 degrees off where it should be? It looks super off. And
What are you talking about? What part was that? The
that was
activation
so
switch?
yeah. If you look at the activation switch right now, it's pretty central because we've got these bodies remade. But we painted all the bodies. We didn't notice anything because the prototype was fine. But on the production, the bodies where the buttonhole was slightly off angle, and it just didn't look right. Like we couldn't ship. Like we were looking at it like, people are gonna notice this.
How did you end up fixing that?
So we spoke to our manufacturers, and they reluctantly, for free, remanufactured all the bodies, and then we had to paint them all over again, and that was during winter. So Plasticoat was being very temperamental, and so it took a lot of batches to get this second batch of bodies repainted, but we did it in the end. So yeah, the paintwork was very much pain, but I'm happy with how they came out.
I'm also very happy with how they came out. Like,
Right.
genuinely, I think this was top tier. The reason why I bought this is that I could have easily bought in one of the earlier Sonic Compendium ones. I was this close, someone was reselling one. But then from a little birdie, I got told that there might be one available before these went out of stock. And I got one. And I'm very happy with the paint, genuinely.
I'm glad.
And the electronics, I think, were done by you too, right?
They were indeed, yeah.
What did you think about the electronics? Because the Aztec is a very particular model. It's not the same as like a slider from the Tenon era.
That's right.
It's rather odd. How would you explain that process?
Well, this was the second time I've done a batch, or a large batch of Aztec type props. The first ones I did were the grey Aztecs, our initial grey Aztecs, of which we did 100, and that was really my first time.
A couple
doing
years
that.
ago, right? Now?
That was a few years back, yeah. And it was very difficult because the Aztec system isn't like the sliding props where all the electronics are contained in one piece which moves up and down with the rest of the extending section. So the electronics are static with the rest of the parts. But with this one, there's two separate systems going on. So you've got the button and you've got the rest of the electronics. And the problem is the LED wires will move up and down, but the button wires will stay in place. So you've got two separate systems going on, and you've got to make sure that when it does extend, the button wires won't catch, the button wires stay in place, the wires that extend don't get tangled. So there's a lot more going on in the Aztec style props. And what we actually did was we did base the internals on the actual Aztec props because we were given Brian Rieger's grey Aztec body, which showed us how the internals look. So we based it off that. But since our first iteration, the grey Aztecs, we made a few design changes to make the second batch, which was the cream Aztecs, a lot easier to do. And it was actually a lot easier to put together, even though it was still a lot of work. But the system was, what we did was we added an additional wire channel, because there's one at the back that stops the emitter from twisting, but there's an additional wire channel at the front now, in which we can glue the wires into place at the front, and that stops them from moving. And it keeps everything nice and secure. So that's what we did the second time round, and it worked really well. So yeah,
I think it is evident because the Aztecs have always had that problem. Even the original props, they were a mess.
yeah,
Right? Complete mess. And other makers would successfully get the exterior out, but I feel like the inner was always a bit of a problem.
yeah.
But honestly, I've had this for a couple days now, and it's been pretty solid. Genuinely zero complaints so far. So I commend you.
You heard it from him.
I did. I actually, I was so excited for this Aztec that you have no idea. But I genuinely there's zero give. Like, you don't hear anything rattling around. Right?
It's because of the system that stops it twisting is really good at holding it in place.
And it shuts, and that's the O-rings, I think.
The O-rings will also keep it in place. So yeah.
But it's pretty great. I have no complaints. even you already know this is pretty typical of you guys, but you guys always put the end cap at the speaker holes.
We do,
right?
for the Aztec styles, yeah.
Kind of let the sound shine through more.
Yeah, well, with the sliding channel ones, there's always a gap because there's a sliding channel that allows the sound to escape. But with this version, there's not much space because there's no sliding channel. There's nothing for the sound to come out. So we decided to make the speaker face the bottom of the Sonic. And so to be combined with that, we had to provide something that would allow the sound to escape from the actual bottom of the Sonic. So we had to make some secondary end caps that would be for people who ordered sound, and that allows the sound to escape. And it's pretty unnoticeable if you're carrying it around because it is just a black end cap as well. Although it is resin and not Darren like the actual props. We do have an original Darren end cap that gets supplied, but if you have sound, it will pretty much block off all the sound. So yeah, that's what we did for that.
Pretty sweet actually, to be honest, because then you don't have to really pick one or the other. You just
you can you can basically have both.
It's pretty quiet with the end cap anyways.
Yeah. So if you get sound, you can treat it like a lights only version by keeping the original end cap on. So.
Even if you take it to a con, you're literally never gonna hear that.
Ever. Yeah, exactly.
So, and even in a quiet room while we were reviewing it, like it's pretty muted when you have the end cap. So if you're in like a decent room filled with people, it's not gonna be filled up. So pretty good on that. I love your infographics.
Yeah, thank you. So there's a lot behind the infographics. The line renders. So this is actually just a complete render. Are done by using the original model, which Dan provides, and he provides them to our artist, who is Jem Ward. He does a lot of great work. And then the sort of the style behind each booklet is different, and that's sort of done between James Sutton and Jem. They sort of come up with ideas together about like sort of time period the Sonic was released from, plus the sort of things that would be appropriate for the Sonic, like color schemes, you know. Sometimes some of our booklets have like actual design choices, like for example, if we were to do pen lights, they'd be based on like a retro vintage look. This one I'm not entirely sure what you would call it, but it does match a sort of color scheme of the 2005 era.
No, it gives off that like coral look, those light colored.
Actually, that's a good point. It is very sort of coral. Yeah.
I genuinely love these infographics, like all of them. I think you sell these on your site too as a pack.
Yeah, so we also sell them as posters. It's just the same artwork you would see on the front of the booklet, but as an actual A4 poster. I believe it's A4. They might be A3. I think they're A3 actually.
They're lovely.
So for every single, so you could have a lineup of all of the different variants of Sonics, with the posters on the front there. Yeah,
they're quite nice. What about the tin cans?
The tin cans.
I talked very nicely about the tin cans in my review, but they were complete honest words. Like, I love. I think the first thing I said to him when I got this was I didn't expect it to be this small.
Yeah, they are quite compact, and that was an intentional choice, obviously. So the first batch we ever shipped were the wide sliders, and we didn't ship those with tins because, well, that was our very initial run. We didn't have much money in the company at the time. We were just, the Sonics were pretty cheap, and we were focused on just getting the Sonics out and getting the stands out, etc. But then after that, we realized, you know, shipping them without tins, with something to hold them into, and for people transporting them, wasn't really a very good idea in the end. We did have a few like issues with, you know, international customers who received them with, you know, maybe things coming apart slightly, or, you know, paint chips and whatnot. So that's when we were like, okay, we should probably supply them with some tins. We will have to increase the price a bit. But we came up with the whole collector's edition style thing, which is standard for Sonic, but for some of our products, it's an additional optional add-on.
I think it fits very nicely.
Yeah, so we did have to tinker with, you know, foam and whatnot, because I think this is during the very... so it also timed well with us getting a laser cutter, which means we could laser cut our own foam, and that's what we did. So we bought the tins, we liked the size of the tins, designed up some foam, cut the foam, and then that was it really. It was nice and simple from there on. Yeah. I
think you guys did a great job. I know it was a long time coming, but I think the end of this was worth it.
Yeah, me too.
Genuinely zero complaints. Great job on the paperwork again, Cass.
Thank you.
Like, I have no complaints on that. I love the screws on the back too.
Yeah.
I don't really have much more to say on this. It's generally pretty perfect. I'm surprised. You own a compendium too, right?
I do own a compendium.
He does own that. I did want that.
Yeah. It's a pretty close match. There's a few little... The problem with the compendiums is, contrasting to this one, where the electronic system has the electronics all in the bottom of the Sonic that stay in place. The compendium actually does the opposite of this one. Instead of having the LED wires be extend and contract, it has actually got a sliding system on the inside in which the button wires actually move instead of the LED wires. So that was a completely different system. Yeah, okay. And it's a bit looser because I believe it was supposed to have an O-ring, but the actual channel for the O-ring in the sliding electronic section wasn't cut in the right shape. So the O-ring would just slip in and out. So unfortunately,
would delete the. What it's supposed
yeah,
to
it
be
just
doing.
wouldn't hold properly. So yeah, those didn't. So they're a bit loose. That's the only real problem with them. But they are pretty good. Yeah. And they weren't also shipped with any variants such as with the filled bodies, which you can do with our ones. We did offer an
Pretty
option.
simple build, then, I guess, right? Just
Yeah.
straightforward. It wasn't really seen much on screen. At the end of the day, I feel like
That's true. The filled version, yeah. I think it was only if you. Well, the Cream Aztec was quite a short run Sonic. Each of them were only like 2 episodes each or something, I believe. And then it was converted to the wide slider because the Aztec system was such a pain in the first place for whoever was managing the props on set at the time. So it was converted into the wide slider, and that was what you see in most of the scenes that Eccleston is in. So yeah.
I don't like the wide slider.
He doesn't like the wide slider. I love the wide slider. It's very nice. I always
okay.
the wide slider.
I saw it.
Yeah, he's wrong, but you know, you can be wrong. It's fine.
I'm allowed to be wrong. That's okay. I'm okay with my wrong opinion. I also don't like classics, but I feel like I might have to cut that out.
As I said, his opinions are
the classic series is good. I just the Sonic doesn't appeal to me. I might have to cut that out.
You will get
yeah, I might get flamed. Guys, I appreciate all the classic lovers though.
He's talking to you specifically.
You, my dear boy, you're the real hero. But thank you for your time on this little explanation. Just wanted to. I think this would be nice. Since I had the opportunity. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be able to ask you.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome.
Especially to the guy who pretty much assembled most of this.
Did
Aztec, right?
Yeah, on this particular one.
I think you did a great job.
Thank you.
And for those who are receiving theirs, or in the process of receiving theirs, be excited because I think this is genuinely one of the rare few instances where I'm like, wow, they got it. I've owned many versions of different version props, and this just looks chef's kiss. I did taste the paint.
You tasted the paint?
I did.
How did it taste?
Like paint. Yeah. Like
yeah.
Paint.
Who'd have thought, right? I know.
Who would have thought? But if you haven't joined so already, we do have a Discord community group where we get to kind of show our products off, and we have some really cool team members on there, like Cass over here, who is a part of the group as well, where you guys can interact with other community members and ask questions and yada yada. But there's a lot of great fans on there who are posting their stuff from even other manufacturers, and we just kind of talk about things. So feel free to join if you'd like. We have a link in the description. Thanks for joining us on this video. Thank you for joining us.
You're very welcome.
Always a pleasure.
Indeed.
Thank you so much. And of course, visit his shop, littleshopprops.com, and you guys can snag any of the other products that are available, because I believe these are out of stock, right?
That's right now, yeah, they are
out of stock. Keep your eyes peeled for eBay, maybe eBay or Facebook Marketplace. I don't know, but if you find one of these available and you want one, definitely get one. I'm very pleased with this. So thanks a ton, Cass.
You're very welcome.
All right.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
See ya.